Hi Gemini, this is Becky and we are here to read for the eclipse of January 31st, which is Wednesday coming up this week. We're going to be doing a quick reading on the eclipse. Now for you Gemini, the eclipse will be occurring in your third house in the zodiac wheel, which is the house of communication and messages and all kinds and of anything to do with communication. Really is the third house. You'll be experiencing this eclipse there. Now this is a full moon lunar eclipse at 11 degrees 37 minutes of Leo, or approximately that particular position in Leo. All right, so what we're going to be reading for is your solar chart. So when I say that the eclipse will be occurring in your third house, it is the solar chart, not your natal chart. So you may be able to get more information by looking up your natal chart and calculating that and see where Leo falls in your natal chart. But for now, we're looking at the solar chart. Now this eclipse is huge. It is a super moon, so to speak, because it's going to appear larger than normal, and it is a blue moon because it is the second full moon in the month of January. Anytime there's more than one full moon in the month, we call it a blue moon month, basically, when there are two. And we will see two again in March. There will be 0 full moons in February. Very interesting. So we're kicking off eclipse season here in 2018 with this eclipse in Leo, and we're going to be using these two decks, and we're going to ask the angels to help us figure out some insights basically into how this eclipse is going to be affecting your communication, all matters relating to communication. Now it will last with you for about 3 months, starting from the end of January almost to the end of April. So it's pretty powerful. So let's see what we can come up with. We've got our Wheel of the Year Tarot, which I love. And we're also going to be pulling a card from the Oracle card deck. And this one's called Ask and It Is Given. And this is by Esther and Jerry Hicks of Abraham fame. So if you're familiar with that, that's who made those. Okay, so let's get going. We're here now. I've already created the sacred space and we're ready to go. Angels, we're reading for Gemini, the eclipse affecting their third house of communication. If you could give us insights, angels, for Gemini 2018, eclipse of January 2018, Gemini eclipse. There it is. Angels, Gemini eclipse of 2018, Gemini eclipse, January 2018. There it is. Okay. Now I pulled this one first, so I'm just going to switch them because that's the order it's easier to read in. Let's take a look. Wow. Okay, Gemini. So what we can see here right off the bat is there is a lot of anxiety regarding partnerships. Now this is in the third house of communication. All right. So my guess is there's been a communication nightmare. It's just what I heard in my head. A communication nightmare, excuse me, between you and someone else. Or there could be a situation where there's miscommunication between you and a group that you're a part of, a business you work in. It doesn't have to be romantic at all. In terms of love, because it could be any kind of communication with family members. Now, let's take a look at what we've got specifically. Okay, so first of all, we've got our 9 of Swords. Now, with this card, you can see here that this woman is running, screaming through this barren field. There are 9 swords behind her here and all of these crows, and she seems to be batting them away. They're almost like nagging thoughts or pestering thoughts or nightmarish thoughts, anxiety. She's freaked out in her own mind, and these swords represent her thoughts. It's not necessarily real at all, but these are things that are just driving her crazy in her mind. And as I said, swords are the card of communication. Well, I might not have said it, but now I have. Swords are the communication symbol in the tarot. And so all kinds of thoughts and communication is depicted. And it's kind of odd that we would find two sword cards coming out when this eclipse is occurring in your house of communication. So it's going to be a big focus, and it will be, Gemini, for the next 3 months. And Gemini, you are the master of communication. Mercury is your ruler, and Mercury is the planet of communication. So Gemini, how odd that you would be getting this message. You being the master of communication, it's who you are, and you're getting this message of anxiety. So we can see in the next 3 months, once this eclipse hits on Wednesday, I forgot what time of day it's going to hit, but nonetheless, when it occurs, then, throughout the next 3 months, you need to find a way to calm your thoughts so that you are not driving yourself nuts, worrying, thinking anxious thoughts, trying to, bat away any kind of nightmares that you may be having in regards to communicating to someone, communicating with someone, or addressing any kind of communication issue between you and somebody else or you and another group. Now, in this card here, we've got the Seven of Swords. Traditionally, in the Rider-Waite deck, the artwork on this card, now this is not the Rider-Waite deck, but in the traditional tarot Rider-Waite deck, you see a man trying to get away with 7 swords tucked under his arms, and he's trying to run away with them, like he's trying to, put something over on someone and escape with these swords, run away with them. In this deck, we have got a love scene. So it doesn't have to be a love scene. It could just be simply that somebody's trying to get away with something, and the communication is fraught with, the word that comes to mind is deception. The Seven of Swords can mean some kind of deception. Now, it can vary in terms of trickery, outright trickery, or just maybe, not revealing everything, but there's some kind of deception. Somebody may be trying to get away with something, and it could be you, Gemini, or it could be just in your thoughts that you're feeling this over the next 3 months, that someone's trying to put one over on you or get away with something or not reveal everything to you. Now, you can see here in the traditional sense of a love situation, which I don't know if this is love for you, but it is definitely a communication issue. This couple here represents 2 people who are not on the same page. She thinks something is going on between them, and so her eyes are closed and oblivious to where he is looking. And he is looking over here at this coquettish woman, quite attractive, who appears to kind of have this flirty glance over her shoulder at him. And this other woman here has no clue because her eyes are closed. She thinks one thing, he thinks another, and this one thinks another. So there's kind of this weird miscommunication and misunderstanding and almost deception in a lot of ways, and trying to put one over on someone or not reveal everything that's going on, and that's this dynamic. Now, this does not mean that this is going on in relationships. No. But let's look at the bigger meaning. And the bigger meaning is that there is a miscommunication and a misunderstanding possible, or just the anxiety of having a miscommunication occur, or what to do about it if it does occur. So let's see what we can get further on this from Spirit. Angels, we would like to get a clarification for Gemini for this reading for the eclipse regarding the 3rd house of communication. Angels, a clarifying for Gemini, a clarifier to help Gemini. There it is. Okay, let's see. Strength. Wow. I love it when this happens. Okay, Gemini. Spirit is saying you're being advised by the Strength card, which we see here, number 8 in this deck. It is a major arcana energy, which simply means that some people say that this particular event that requires strength has been sort of almost determined to occur in your lifeline, so to speak, in your journey here. And it's a learning experience, definitely. But whatever this is, whatever the miscommunication and the anxiety over possible miscommunication or maybe actual miscommunication or misunderstanding, like we talked about the different meanings of those two cards, whatever it is, it's going to require strength of mind, definitely. Now, this man is exerting a mastery and control over this out-of-control, raging bull. And so if we look at it symbolically, if this bull is symbolizing what is going on in your mind, or other, basically I see it as what's going on in your mind with this sort of like a broken record that keeps playing over and over and over in your mind. It's going to take, this is the broken record here, it's going to take a lot of strength. You're going to have to master when you feel out of control, communicatively I'm speaking, where you're feeling frustrated and worried about a communication situation. You need to exert control and master your own, what do I want to say here? An odd word just came to my mind. The word that just came is tempestuous. If you feel that you are about to lose it, so to speak, in any kind of communication situation, lose your temper, become tempestuous, is that word I heard, you need to realize how to control your own self. Now, you cannot control others, but you can control your own self, okay? In any situation that you're going to be communicating, whatever it's about, you exercise this control over your own self. And we could say over the whole situation, you will be exercising control over any situations that may kind of, I don't know, get under your skin, so to speak, annoy you, frustrate you. Release the frustration and use basically your inner fortitude to control anything that seems to be rampaging or stampeding or just hot and bothered because something is going awry in either a negotiation or a communication situation. It will pass. It's not huge, but it will pass, and you're being advised to control yourself, okay? And by controlling yourself, you will diffuse any kind of miscommunication. And also keep in mind to be clear so that there's not this, I think this and he thinks that and she thinks that, 3 things going on in the same photo. So just be clear in your own mind, stay calm, refuse to go there. And remember, you do have the inner strength to master this and control this, and see to it that accurate communication and clarity is maintained throughout this whole 3 months. Okay, so that's going to be some issues coming up there, but now we know, so you know what to do about it. Let's go ahead and ask the angels for a clarifier from the Esther and Jerry Hicks. Angels, we would like a clarifier for this situation to help our Gemini friends, and there it is. Thank you, angels. Okay, now what we're going to do, Gemini, I'm going to show you the front of the card. You can see it's an interesting artwork. We've got this little man here, and it looks like starfish on a beach, really, with sand, and it says, moods are indicators of my emotional set points. Moods are indicators of my emotional set points. and then we've got here. Before I read this to you, I want you to remember, if you find that your mood is this during the next 3 months, that's an indication that you need to exercise control over your own self. How do you do that? Let's read. And it says here, when you continue to focus on any thought, it becomes increasingly easy to continue to focus on it because the law of attraction is making more thoughts like it available to you. And so, emotionally speaking, you're developing a mood, or you are achieving a habitual vibrational groove, so to speak, or a set point. This is what is cautioning you. Refuse to let this be your set point, your emotional groove. Refuse. Whenever you feel yourself going down that path, grab it by the reins and know that you are the master of your own vibrational set point and you can achieve it. Just be mindful as we go through the next 3 months. There will be a lot of lessons in communication and you are the master of you. Okay, Gemini? That's about it. I'll be back soon with our February love readings. Until then, see you soon.